If there's one thing that gets me excited about fall fishing, it is the start of catching big speckled trout. This is the time of year that you're gonna start catching really big numbers of trout, but if you plan your spots correctly, you can really increase the quality of the trout that you're gonna catch. So I wanted to make this video for you guys today to clue you in on some of the top spots to catch trout this early fall. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first and probably most important place to start looking for big speckled trout is points. Points are one of my favorite places to look in the early fall because I know these fish are transitioning. And what I mean by that is they're moving from the passes and inlets where they were holding in the summer towards those backwater creeks that they're gonna eventually end up in the winter. So the fall is where they start staging to move to those backwater areas. And if we draw a line from those passes and inlets that they were holding in the summer, and we move through those intercoastal channels, those main waterways, the large bays, we'll notice that they're gonna be staging on the points right before those backwater areas. If you look at the coastal marshes in the mid-Atlantic, you'll notice a lot of these areas are right before you enter those grassy marshes. They're gonna be holding on those major points that enter those areas. If we're down in Florida, we'll notice that they're gonna be hanging on the edges of those grass flats before you get up into the bays that are further inland. Or if you're on the west coast of Florida where you've got all those winding creeks in the Crystal River and areas of that nature, those fish are gonna be holding on those major points before you enter those areas. Over in Texas, all of those large bays, before you go further inland, all those fish are gonna be staged on those major points. It's just an area that these fish really like to hold before they make their final push into their winter zone. So definitely be looking for them at points in the early fall. So as you fish these points, keep in mind that these are almost like pit stops for these large trout populations that are migrating to the backwater areas. So if you pick one trout off of a point, there's a very good chance that there's multiple fish there. And if you guys take a look at this clip, it wasn't just one trout that I picked off of this point, it was multiple. And in fact, the last fish that I caught was actually the largest. So be sure to pick through those areas so that you can find those quality fish.
There we go.
Might be a flounder. It hit kind of weird. Could be a trout. I don't know. Find out. Looks like a trout. Good sized trout too. Very pretty fish. Now the next spot I recommend you start checking out is wind protected coves and creeks, specifically ones that are a little bit deeper than the surrounding area. Again, these are gonna be areas that trout are gonna duck off into when the wind picks up, the temperature drops, and they're looking for a little bit of warmth. That mud is gonna increase the water temperature. It's gonna make it a little bit warmer than those surrounding areas. So if there's a lot of sand that is surrounding an area and you've got a muddy cove or a muddy creek, those trout are gonna favor that area because it's gonna be a little bit more wind protected, a little bit warmer because of that muddy bottom, and you've got a really good chance of finding quality fish there.
Real muddy back here. It's likely gonna be a little bit more warmth here. There we go. Finally got him. Nice. There we go. Oh yeah. Right on the lip. Oh my goodness. Chunky.
So the third and final spot I believe you should be looking for big speckled trout in the fall is gonna be anywhere with a big depth change. And the reason for that is we could have a couple days of really warm weather and then you could have that really quick cold snap that occurs in the fall a lot. And those fish are gonna be going down to the deeper water where there's a little bit more temperature stability. Now, say it does warm up, those fish are gonna prefer to move back into the shallower water because it makes it easier for them to hunt. Trout have their eyes on the top of their head. They're ambush predators that like to attack from below. We know that from their upward hinging jaw. So if they can get in shallower water where the bait has less of a chance to get away, again, if they're trying to hunt in deep water, the bait has a lot of different directions to go. If it's shallower water, it doesn't have as many avenues of escape. So those fish are gonna want to transition between that shallow and deep water, depending on a number of different factors, temperature being number one. Number two would be that bait availability. So I really recommend that you check out any areas that have drastic depth changes, edges of grass flats, creek mouths, anywhere like that can be a very productive zone. And I've shown you guys a lot of coastal creek fishing, but here I am down in Florida with Luke Simons targeting the edge of a grass flat for big speckled trout on top water. So guys, check this out.
Come get it. Yeah. Nice. Wow, that is a big fish.
So there you guys have it. Those are my top 3 spots to target speckled trout in the fall. And again, I did try to touch on areas that would be productive all over the United States, from Texas over to Florida, and from Florida all the way up to the Carolinas. These are all areas that you will be able to find trout. But if you would like some more specific information about how to become a better trout angler, I would highly recommend you join us in the Salt Strong Insider community, where we do show you exactly where we're going every single week, the lures we're throwing, our tactics, retrieves, everything that goes into being a successful trout angler, as well as tons of different discounts on all the best trout fishing gear, rods, reels, lures, everything like that. Just for being a Salt Strong Insider, you get 20% off of top of the line industry tackle. So what are you guys waiting for? I hope to see you in the Insider community, and thanks again for watching.